Hey everybody, welcome to SI.com. The Final Four is set, and joining me to break down the Kentucky-Wisconsin matchup is college basketball editor Ted Keith. Ted, what has been the most impressive part about Kentucky's run to the Final Four?
Well, I know a lot of people made a big deal about beating West Virginia by 39 points and jumping on them early, but to me it was far more impressive what they did in order to hold off Notre Dame and actually come back to win that game, because there were a lot of plays down the stretch where they were going to have to make to avoid not just losing, but losing handily. At a time when Notre Dame was up by 6, Kentucky started turning up the heat on the defensive end. They gave up one field goal, I think, in the final 5 minutes, and that was a deep three-pointer. So we've been waiting all year for them to be tested by a really good team. That hadn't happened, despite the fact that they had played and beaten Arkansas multiple times in the SEC, Louisville, Kansas, North Carolina, UCLA during the season. Notre Dame was the best team they've played to date. Now they're going to play the next best team they've played to date in Wisconsin. They're going to have to play just as well, if not better, on the defensive end for 40 minutes. And not forget about Karl-Anthony Towns on the inside. So that's what I liked about Kentucky. What has impressed you the most about Wisconsin so far?
It's got to be Sam Decker, right? I mean, he goes back-to-back career-high points, and he's kind of that X factor that team has been looking for. They've been wanting him to step up this way all season. We thought he was going to after that impressive showing he had at the LeBron James Skills Academy in the summer, and then finally he's starting to put these pieces together. If he can shoot from the outside and also do that dribble penetration, which he's been making work in the paint during this NCAA tournament run, I think that they're almost an unstoppable force. They can shoot outside 1 through 5. Frank Kaminsky's a three-point shooter. Nigel Hayes is a three-point shooter. Douye Dukin is a three-point shooter. Everybody on this team can shoot, and they've also got 3 guys who are 6'10" or higher who can get on the boards and who can score in the paint. So I think this team has everything it needs to compete with Kentucky. How do you see this matchup playing out?
I think this is going to be the best national semifinal matchup we've seen in a while. The best offense in the country by a wide margin in Wisconsin, the best defensive team in the country by a wide margin in Kentucky. But what Wisconsin has done the last 2 times out, even coming into the Sweet 16 round, they were averaging, I think, about 125 points per 100 possessions. They went way over that against North Carolina in the Sweet 16 and way over that against Arizona in the Elite Eight when they shot 80% in the second half. So I don't know that you can really stop this team. It's really just a matter of time because, like you said, they have so many shooters. We've been hearing all year the key to beating Kentucky is to making three-pointers from deep. They've got 7 guys on that team who've all had at least one game this year with 3 three-pointers. So I think, to me, that's going to be one of the most exciting things to watch. And then on the other end of the floor, where does Kentucky go to get points? Despite the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns had the great game in the Elite Eight, he was mostly absent in the Sweet 16, not that they needed him. But the Harrison brothers, Willie Cauley-Stein, Dakari Johnson, who is going to be that guy who steps up and takes on that big scorer's role in a game where they're going to have to match the offense for once? I don't know if they can, it seems weird to say, but I don't know if they can just win it with defense. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think the most interesting matchup to me in this game is Player of the Year candidate Frank Kaminsky against Willie Cauley-Stein, the best defender in college basketball. Cauley-Stein is a guy who can defend to the perimeter. We've seen him match up against guards on pick and rolls during this season, and he even gets steals out there. He is a really great defender. Kaminsky, of course, what makes him so difficult is he's a matchup nightmare because he's a 40% three-point shooter. And so I look at that matchup and I say that's one of the keys to victory. But Wisconsin also, they can space out the floor so well. That's one of the reasons that Notre Dame did so well against Kentucky's defense is they spaced out the floor. Wisconsin can do that because of all those three-point shooters that they have. If you go and you sacrifice on the outside to stop the three-point shooting, then Sam Decker, Bronson Koenig, those guys can get into the lane. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting matchup. And I think, like you said, this should be one of the best games of the NCAA tournament. Thanks so much, Ted. For all of your Final Four coverage, stay on SI.com. For SI, I'm David Gardner. Thanks for watching.